Hello and welcome to AfriDominion. My name is Freeman Singiran Kabon. Thank you so much for tuning into our program today. And for those of you joining us live for the very first time, welcome, welcome, welcome. Join our program and be sure to come and check us out, but also join us live in our studio as it happens right now. And for those of you guys who are joining us for the very first time, I want to just give it to you straight out that we are driven by truth, love, and trust. And these are the benchmarks by which we love for you to literally benchmark everything that we are discussing together. And with that in mind, also, I want to let you know that we discuss everything in the open. And in other words, if you want to get in touch with us, by all means, don't hesitate. You can find us out on our website, which is www.afridominion.com. www.afridominion.com. And with that in mind, guys, I want to jump right in it. As today we have so many things happening, but we have two main topics that I want to talk to you, or that we want to have a conversation over. And with that further ado, guys, without any further ado, I want to jump right in. But I also want to let you guys know that if you want to have a saying, if you want to participate, feel free. As we have both our online platforms, all the online platforms that we have tuned on, they're live. You can join in and have a conversation. But we also have Zoom. If you do have Zoom on your device, you are more than welcome to come and we can share the conversation in real time. With that in mind, guys, what do we want to talk about? The first topic, or the first conversation, we want to talk about the war in between the DRC and Rwanda. And the topic of now goes something like this: the headmaster stops the war between Rwanda and the DRC. That's the first conversation we're going to talk about. The second topic, or the second conversation we would love to have, is who is responsible for your health, brothers and sisters, Africans. Who is responsible for your health? That's another topic we want to talk about in the middle of the hours. So, guys, without any further ado, what is happening? The internet is heating up over pictures that we have witnessed, where's Rwanda's Paul Kagame and DRC's Tshisekedi met in Doha, in Qatar, over the fighting. In other words, we do not have permission to share with you guys the image, the picture that's been circulating throughout the internet. But based on the way it's looking, guys, it's like when the headmaster calls two students fighting in a classroom, and they get sent to the main office to basically become answerable to why they're bickering. When you take a look at how President Kagame and Tshisekedi are sitting down, listening to Amir, to the Sheikh Amir of Doha, as he speaks to them. I really wish that we could show you guys the picture. You have Emir Sheikh Tamim in between President Kagame and Tshisekedi, and they're sitting like this, listening attentively. And guys, when I said they're listening attentively, if you notice the press conference, a communication that came out, it only says that they agreed to stop fighting. Now, my question becomes, how is it that the Qatarians are able to stop this bickering between Africans themselves when they cannot stop on their own? How is it that in Doha, both Tshisekedi and Kagame can go and sit down and stop war, or listens to the degree they wanted to stop the war, but they were not able to do that in Rwanda? Guys, I want you guys to question what is happening here. I keep on telling you guys over and over and over and over that slavery, slavery, African slavery, modern slavery amongst us African is just something that we are not going to miss when we get rid of it. Because when you see how we get disrespected as Africans, it's out of this world, guys. It is literally out of this world. Guys, I know you guys want to jump in. Just give me a few seconds. I'm already receiving you guys saying that you want to participate. Just be patient a little bit, guys. Let's share right quick. But if you'd like, you can join. You can just join in Zoom right now if you want to have a saying in it. But let me just say a thing or two before before we actually have an interactive conversation. So, guys, this March, the fight erupted almost out of nowhere, and not only it erupted, they had some very specific strategical goals, capturing almost the whole entire East Africa. What am I saying? East Africa. My apologies. The whole entire Eastern Democratic Republic of the Congo, from all the way to Ituri, to Goma, to all the way going towards Bukavu. And the word in the street is they even want to go all the way to Katanga. In other words, they want to have a nice buffer between Rwanda and the DRC. We also said a few days back that there were some talks in slicing the DRC into multiple parts. And this is where now the conversation is going to be really interesting, guys. And I really want you guys to have an input because we said we are going to, we're going to talk about it openly. Guys, first and foremost, I wish that you, brothers and sisters, get to understand that Africans have been put into a war life cycle. If you guys go on the internet and Google or search what is the life cycle of a war, anytime you have an eruption, where people fight, countries fight, there's a life cycle. There are very specific phases that every war that's ever conceived by humankind follows. Rwanda and the DRC are no exception to the rule. You can literally tell based on the life cycle of a war where they are literally what phase of the war that Rwanda and the DRC are literally living through right now. And first and foremost, it makes me feel a little bit of pissed off. Why? Because our brothers and sisters are dying because somebody's war game on the board, on the table, has to go on. And they have to be satisfied that every phase of the war is going accordingly. Now, what are those pieces of phases of war? I want to give it to you guys in a more, not in a presentation way. In the morning, I usually take my time to actually show you what it is. So now we have, first and foremost, let's identify the stakeholders or the main key are the party. You have Rwanda, at least the visible one anyway. Right now, you got Rwanda and the DRC. You also have invisible party pushing both Rwanda and the DRC. The invisible party are armed dealers, are these nations, first world nations. You have the United States, you have you have UK, you have France, you have Russia, you have China, you have Germany, and you've got all these private arm dealers also providing the weaponry. There are so many stakeholders in these wars, specifically the war between Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Now, how in the world does Qatar comes in as another key player? Based on the way we've been analyzing, Qatar has been observing the United States literally setting foothold in Africa. Qatar sees the Chinese setting foothold in Africa. Qatar sees the United Kingdom, the French, the Russian, and they're like, you know what? We also got money. If they can do it, why can we not do it? After all, we all flex the same muscles. They can easily summon African president just the way they summoned Kagame and Tshisekedi, and they did not refuse the invitation. That's how you get to see modern slavery practically. Anybody who has that kind of juice, that kind of power to summon you like this, and you go, get to know that they also have a whole lot to say about the bickering that you're having. not only a whole lot to say, but they also have interest that they have to protect. In these instances, I want to ask you guys. It'll be almost like a question and answer, or a little small quiz to see if you guys are really following. What does the Quatal has? What does Quatal gains out of the fight? What does it gain when the fight stops versus what does it gain or not gain when the fight continues? So that's where it's gonna get interesting. First and foremost, in a war, there is what they call a pre-conflict. In a pre-conflict, you have warring sides stating some of the bickering issues. Let me see if I can actually put it on the board. I did not plan. I wasn't planning on. I was not planning on sharing it with you guys on a screen. But I think it'll be a little bit more effective if I actually demonstrate it on the screen, because man, we often and often and often and often we are being literally played, guys. We are being played in the open, literally. And it's crazy that this whole fight never gets old. It continues and it continues and it continues. And I'm wondering at what degree, when do we say enough is enough and we no longer want to be a part of this fight? I really want to know, at what point do we say, you know what, we have had enough of this. We don't want any more of these fights. So let me give me just a few seconds. Give me just a few seconds, because I really think that it does a disservice to some of you guys who are fighting wars that you have no idea how they started. And unless you understand how these wars have started, we're just gonna kill each other. Endless fights that would not stop, and they can only be stopped by the same folk who start, who actually began these wars. Why do you want to die over something that you have no knowledge over, that you have no understanding how it started? That's one of my questions to you, brothers and sisters. Why do we want to die over wars that we have not started, that we have no idea how they started? What do you gain? What do you gain? What do I gain? It's crazy that Africans are dying every single day over the wars that were never started by Africans. Somebody sees Africa as a playground, a war theater, where they can flex the muscle, where they can test the weapons of mass destructions, where they can come and run all kinds of experiment on us like we are lab rats. And guess what? Through the so-called leaders of ours, they come as they please and they go as they please. We die, and there's no justice. Literally, for an African to die in the middle of these wars, it's nothing new. Because at the end of the day, we are there to simply serve at the pleasure of the headmasters. And that's one of the things that literally makes me feel so disgusted. The fact that the majority of our brothers and sisters, we continue to fall into this. We literally continue to fall into these modern slavery tactics, and it's sad. It's really, really sad that every single day, brothers and sisters are dying over the same thing that we can literally fight against. Bear with me, guys. Bear with me. I'm trying to push it on the screen so that you guys can get a chance to see. I felt compelled to share with you guys what I'm showing, what I'm reading on my screen here, because I think it's relevant that we get to understand how sometimes we the one causing our own death amongst ourselves. You may say that you don't know how it came to be, but I would also say that in the midst of all the bickering, with simply following what we are being asked to do. So, I don't know if you guys can project my screen there. Help me, guys. Yeah, I've got my screen here. I've got the screen that I want to share. Uh-huh. Just a minute, just a minute. Uh-huh. I got it. I got what I want to share with you guys. But while I'm loading it, guys, I really feel terrible because it hurts me. I feel so saddened. I'm saddened by the fact that Africans, we continue to die every single day for the fights we have no stake in. Literally, we have no stake into some of the fights that right now we are fighting as Africans, except getting paid in death. Okay, let me see if now you can see it here. It doesn't show the way I would like you guys to see it. Okay, let me see here. Let me see one page. Okay. Apologies, guys. Apologies. If this doesn't work, I will just tell you what I want to tell you without putting it in a presentation form, because it's important. It is important that you guys get to understand this, because we continuously fall into the same pit, into the same. It's like someone is literally planning for where we are going to find ourselves. For we know exactly where we are going to fall, and unfortunately, as we fall, we don't realize that we are falling. We do not realize that we are falling down, and that really makes me feel so angry at times, because countless lives are losing their lives over this. Countless lives, innocent lives, young children, grown women and children, all losing their lives over the things that they oftentimes have no control over. But they singing to the tune that basically the true perpetrator want them to sing to. Guys, please help me to share that screen right quick and reduce it so I can yeah, I think that looks good. Yeah. Give me the control, please. Thank you. Okay, so as I was telling you guys, sorry, it just took a minute. So right now, I want you guys to take a look at the what is happening here. I took the liberty to just give you guys the understanding of the war between Rwanda and the DRC in the context of what they call a war life cycle. Every war in the world has a life cycle. In the life cycle, there is a pre-conflict, there is an escalation, there is a sustained conflict, there is a stalemate, there is a de-escalation post-conflict, and then we have lapse and so on. Literally, I want you guys to go with me briefly as we talk about this. The pre-conflict. How in the world did we get here? So there's usually tension, ethnic tensions, political, civil, and so on. And then these tensions, they build towards some sort of violence. Now, when we look, I wanted you guys to look at it from the lenses of Rwanda, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, and Qatar. So what is the relationship between DRC and Qatar, and the relationship between Rwanda and Qatar? So you notice the issue right now has always been issues between the Hutus and the Tutsis. as one of the reasons why Rwanda feels like, hey, this is our issues. Okay. Qatar is looking for minerals the same way the other big boys are looking for minerals. And the DRC are kind of stuck in between. It's like the kid who's being bullied or who is being beat out by the other kids right here. Now, why is it that it's easy for Kagame and Tshisekedi to literally the Qatar snaps the finger and they're right there? Because of money, guys. There's power. While right now the United States isn't necessarily playing with Africans to the degree that they feel like, hey, you know what, you are our kind of guy. They used to say that Rwanda, that Kagame was our kind of guy, our kind of guy. You could hear that whole saying from the likes of Bill Clinton all the way to the government that there is today, with the exception of Trump, though. Trump is playing differently. Now, because of uncertainty of where the United States is going, even though they already say America first, we're seeking for our own interest first and foremost. That's one thing I love about the right now what the United States is doing is up in your face telling you, hey, listen, I'm here for me. I don't know about you, but I'm here for me, period. And I'm wondering at what point do we African also get to say, like, hold up, you got the boldness to tell me that you're here for you, yet I'm supplying all your needs. What if I stop all the needs? What if I I stop all the supply, everything that you're actually getting from us? And this is where now it gets interesting. Qatar already says that the United States is already plugged in. Qatar says that the Chinese are already plugged in. They see that the Russians are already plugged in. But the Doha administration is like, we also need some sort of relevancy. We also want to be a part of the peace brokers. We want to be relevant in Africa, the same way the United States is relevant in Africa, the same way the French, the United Kingdom, the Russian, the Chinese are relevant in Africa. Different masters, same goals. Now, our managers or supervisors, Kagame and Tshisekedi, they seem like they're supervisors. When the master said, come here, I need you guys to sit down because you're messing up my plans. How quickly did Kagame and Tshisekedi go to Doha? They went to Rwanda, but unfortunately, the guy who was trying to bring the peace, they did not respect him. In Rwanda, they did not respect the guy because he was like, man, after all, we all answer to the same masters. You're not the master, so I can bicker with this guy anytime that I want. Guys, I'm paraphrasing it the way it looks, okay? Because there's a necessity that we understand that modern slavery, it's hurting us Africans. And we are unfortunately falling into the traps of modern slavery every single day. So coming back to the life cycle of war, the pre-conflict, you have all kinds of grievances that Rwanda has passed on. If you guys remember, there is issue of FDLR, there's issues of fights, there's issues of the security concerns of Rwanda, and there's issues of the genocidal. Pretense, that's just a reason to be. A reason to be. After 30 years, FDLR, soldiers who committed genocide, could not possibly be fighting up to this very moment with the Rwandan RPF. It's impossible. It is as if they never aged. And we know that a lot of the RPF soldiers who were young people, 30 years after, they all have been going into retirement. You have new blood right now fighting. So the notion that the FDLR are still the genocidal and Rwanda's security is at risk is just some bull. It's a reason. I would ask you guys, if you pick an arm and you fight you fight against a country. You literally pick up arms and you begin fighting. Who's the aggressor? Today's government in Rwanda was the aggressor in 1990, as history would have it. They were the aggressors. They had grievances. Not only they successfully toppled the government, but now they also want to topple governments in the regions. Now, the same way they started the war through masters, through true masters, they were just puppets. They were following orders. Minding you, you could not have grievances that you want to go home and by force or by by will or by force and still successfully be able to do that without the help from the country, the hosting country. So you also have Uganda, Uganda implicated in this whole saga. So Uganda, Rwanda, Tanzania, Burundi, this whole Great Lakes region, they're going through dramas that's been like 40, 50, 60 years. As young people, we were born under these dramas. We are still in these dramas. But where now the interesting part comes in, these are dramas that are actually being fermented by other invisible forces. And these invisible forces, we call them masters, headmasters. This is literally slavery relationships, guys. The masters wants to have some interest by any means. The interest has to be looked after by any means necessary. And Africans, we are slaves. We are there to simply serve at the pleasure of these headmasters. In 2025, we are still regarded as modern slaves. And the actions that are taken in our eyes, in our views, they demonstrate so much disrespect, but also impunity when it comes to slavery. First and foremost, I was asking, and I'm going to ask you again, guys, where have you ever seen any manufacturer of weapons in Rwanda? Have you ever seen any manufacturers of weapons in Uganda? Have you ever seen any manufacturers of weapons in the DRC, the Democratic Republic of the Congo? Have you ever seen any weapon manufacturers in Burundi? The answer is no. So how do you tell me that a rebel group that is having issues buying food for their own people, for themselves, can go break in arm deals in the United States, in France, in UK, in China, in Russia, to the degree that they are trusted that they will be able to pay back the amount of arms required to fight a government, a set up government? Guys, understand what these people are doing. They're already serving different masters. So Doha also realizes, hey, I can flex my muscle. Because I can flex my muscle, why can't we not do it the right way? Let me do it the right way. These people have the reason to fight. I'll give them the means to fight. So the escalation came to be, as you guys remember, in this 2025, M23, under the help of Rwanda, as much as everybody fights over it, they're advancing. They're getting weapons. They're being supplied to fight, because we know that weapons don't have any wings. They have to come from somewhere. You have arm deals who have to sell weapons at the end of the day. So while you have the grievances, right or wrong, there are grievances that gives them a reason to fight. The reason to fight is causing millions and millions of people, of our brothers and sisters, dying. Earlier in Kenya, Rwanda, I was explaining the Africans, it's like we are into this gigantic tray, or it's like we are into this big gigantic cookware with 54 rooms. These 54 rooms correspond to nations. Now, the headmaster is literally heating up the pot that has all 54 states rooms. Rwanda is bickering with the DRC, and you think that you are justified. Both of you are in the same pot getting cooked. Now, does it make any sense for Rwanda to believe that it is well loved by the master, just because it only sees everything being put in that room? Does it make any sense for the DRC to think that it's loved by the master, by the headmaster, when everything is being brought into that one room? When what they fail to see is that it's one pot, and right underneath of the pot, it's fire. Fire that is there to literally destroy everybody in those rooms. How else would you explain how Doha snaps a finger and Kagame and Tshisekedi are there? No question asked. Secondly, they are told, hey, kids, as of now, I need you to stop fighting. I don't care what's going on. Let's reset the clock. I need to realign my interests to make sure that both of y'all understand my needs. If you can meet my needs, I will help you. The both of you, I'm gonna help you. So long as you can still look after my interest. Guys, this is what is happening to us. So you've got the escalation. Tension ignites into violence, often via a trigger event amplifying the conflict. M23 in January offensive, they took over Goma, Bukavu, and basically escalated the war. Now Qatar comes in because it wants to be the peace breaker or the peace broker. And of course, as a mediator, you want to have some sort of you want to show that you are more than able. You have not just the diplomatic muscles, but you also have money to back it up. And Qatar is rich. So as the war continues, people dying, eventually, as this war is prolonged, they need a way to refuel. Guys, when you see right now when they're not fighting, they're busy buying arms. They're busy purchasing alternative way of taking care of the problems. This is how the life cycle of war goes on. Anytime you have some sort of break, that's because they're seeking for other means to refill themselves. Wars is going to continue. It's not going to stop overnight, guys. Unfortunately, it is not going to stop. So now you have all these people fighting for a piece of land in the DRC. You have a lot of stakeholders who already are in the DRC, but Qatar also wants to have a piece of its own in the DRC. Qatar already has a piece of its own in Rwanda. You guys may not be aware of it, but next month, there is a high-tech meeting of artificial intelligence in Rwanda that's going to be taking place. Qatar has a heavy investment into AI. Just like other big boys are doing it, they also want to make sure that they sit on the same table. And while they're doing that, for us, we are given arms to kill each other, to butcher one another. They're discussing tomorrow's businesses when we're discussing how we can kill each other today. We're literally killing each other, getting arms from the same people who are attempting to bring the peace amongst ourselves. Are we serious? Are we really serious, guys? So as you can see, my table here, it has a war life cycle description, relation to Rwanda, DRC, negotiation in Qatar, but also what Qatar gains. In a pre-conflict, there is regional stability. Qatar is an investment country. They love to invest. They will lose the investment if Rwanda and the DRC continue to fight when they're supporting both countries. So it will make sense that you make sure that your investment is well looked after. That's why they snapped the finger, and both Tshisekedi and Kagame were there overnight. But you also got to remember, as the war is escalating, Qatar want to flex the muscle. As you guys are aware, right now Qatar is one of the peace brokers in Gaza between the Palestinians and the Israelis. So if they can successfully secure some sort of a peace, even if it will be a temporary peace, that goes on the resume. And of course, they'll come to Africa and do the same, but they also bring in money. Africans, unfortunately, we love money, and this money is oftentimes money that is borrowed, money that doesn't belong to us. Qatar has been investing in Rwanda for such a long time. They're also investing in the DRC. As this conflict continues, Qatar has to ensure that its investment isn't going to go in the ditch. As the supplies, the weapon supply on both sides almost get diminished, or the purchase power of weapon becomes a little bit lower, they have to sort of like call a timeout so that somebody can go and purchase more power, which goes right here where it says stalemate. So in a stalemate, both Kagame and Tshisekedi, they will sit down. Again, being told what to do by the headmaster. That's one of the main thing that I want you guys to remember out of all of this. It's not because of the will of Kagame and Tshisekedi that they are in Doha. They have been told, they have been summoned to appear and respond. Not only that, they were told to stop fighting while this big player realign their interest to make sure that they can still get their interest at the end of it. Don't be shocked if tomorrow the war continues. So they are being given new instructions, and they're also being refilled with more arms. At what point do we say no to these invisible power forces that continue to fuel our self-destructive behaviors? At what point do we say no, guys? At what point do we say no? Most of you guys do not know that people are literally dying. At this point, it doesn't matter who's killing who. Bottom line, there are participation of killings on both sides. Orders coming from way, way above Kagame and way, way above Tshisekedi. The global policy against Africans says Africans must die. We are no good to nobody. We are non-productive, half human beings. Not my words. These are the things that you read on the internet. Some government, even in their constitution, they say that Africans are 2/3 a human being. Up to this day in 2025. Guys, Google it. So in other words, the value and our contribution towards the humanity in 2025, it's still very low to the degree that we can easily become expendable as a people. And because this is the arrangement that we have, it is up to us to ensure that we actually preserve our own lives. We have to preserve our own lives as Africans. We have to also give ourselves value, give ourselves worth, and fight for that worth. I don't understand how an emperor snaps his finger and the war goes on. A sheikh snaps his finger and the world stops. Not only that, he sits you down and be like, hey, you kids, as of today, no more fight. Because if they keep on fighting and they're being given the money, they'll squeeze the money away. If they keep on fighting, they'll take away the guns. Remember, we do not manufacture weapons. Weapons are being brought into our laps as Africans. Those who are bringing in these weapons, they also have the interest for our own self-destructive. After all, the more we're killing each other, they won't have to make deals with as many as Africans that there is today. In the DRC alone, $24 trillion at stake. How much can the Congolese use for themselves. If you take $24 trillion, divide by more than 100 Congolese, everybody will be well off. 100 million Congolese, 100 plus million of Congolese, and all of them divided equally out of the $24 trillion in just one sector, the whole entire country will be set for life. Every citizen of the DRC can do as he or she pleases any way they want to be around the world. But guess what? Because you are Africans, you do not merit such life, such inheritance. And unfortunately, these political puppets, they will not fight for their own people. And because that's what's happening right now, we gotta be like the Americans. Africa has to look after itself first. Not one nation, Africa collectively. Because if me, as one nation, I say, you know what, I'm looking after my own interests. You are as big as a dot. How are you gonna look after your interests if you can't even help yourself? But collectively, if we help ourselves, protect ourselves, every other power-hungry nation, every other so-called powerful nation will come to its knees in front of Africans. And that's the nightmare right now. Literally, it will be the nightmare right now of the so-called first world nations if Africa becomes together as one entity. They will not be able to get all these natural resources that they're utilizing to advance themselves technologically. They won't be able to move forward without Africa today. Europe will die without Africa. Europe will die without Africa. The United States would not be a power force hungry country without Africa. China would not make it without Africa. Russia would not make it without Africa. That's the biggest secret. The biggest secret that they're hiding in front of all of us in plain sight. They can give you as many arms to come and fight me. They can give me as many arms on credit, I shall add, to come and fight you, knowingly that as long as we are continuously being enslaved, whether they give us weapons here, whether they give us this over there, we are still going to be indebted to them in one way or the other. And that is one of the things the majority of us do not see. And that's what I plea with you guys to see, to open your eyes and see that this modern slavery, it is there to stay as long as we maintain the status quo. So whether we are right here on the phase of stalemate, meaning we being told what to do all over again, including de-escalation. Right now, they have been told to de-escalate. Stop fighting. We want you guys to have a ceasefire. We want to be able to care for the wounded, those who have been wounded. That's all they think. Let's care for the wounded. Let's feed the hungry. Let's set up some some camps for the refugees. All the things that are indirectly a result of a war, not the root cause. They don't want to take care of the root cause. They just want to put a little band-aid to the problem. And so, because of that immediate ceasefire order that was given to Kagame and Tshisekedi, they're gonna do it for a few days, few weeks at best, but the war is going to continue. Because remember, there is more than one headmaster who's looking after their own interest. After the interest of the United States is now well kept, the US is gonna do something about its own interest. Same is gonna go with the Chinese. The same is going to be the case with the Russian. Guys, I have nothing against the United States. I have nothing against France. I have nothing against the UK. I have nothing against China or Russian personally. But we follow what they do, their policies towards Africa and the African people. Their policy towards seeking after the very first interest before everybody else, including beyond the limits of their own homeland. It will make sense if everything that was happening was being taken, for example, if it was just in Russia, or if it was just in China, or if it was just in the United Kingdom, France, or the United States. Whatever it is they want to do, if it was in all the nations' respective mainland, then it will be okay. Which is where Africa, we have to rise up and say, wait, hold up. How is it that as an African, you cannot just decide to go to Russia today? You cannot just decide to go to China today. You cannot just decide to go to UK, to France, to the United States. Hell no. You have to be invited. They have to check everything to make sure that you are what they call a worthy guest, someone who's not going to take away from them. They don't want a burden from you, from your family, from your community. So they make it hard for you to come, but they want to make sure that you lay down the red carpet as they come. And not only you lay down the red carpet, you have no right to ask what they're there for, except to listen up like a slave, listen to the headmaster. Guys, this has to go in 2025. So now, Qatar, for the de-escalation, what's in for Qatar? Soft power. They want to enhance Qatar's image as a neutral peacemaker, expanding the Gulf influence to Africa. Okay. Now, as we see the post-conflict, now you see that they already put up a lot of this communique about, hey, hostility is over. We are going for peace. After all, we are going to figure out a way to get along. We are going to disarm our people, our soldiers, and so etc. And we will basically talk it out. If for whatever reason any of them feel like, hey, you know what, you did me wrong, these arms are going to be picked up again. So the Qatar want to make they want to make sure that the investment that they've already made to Rwanda and the DRC will flourish. As soon as it flourishes, they could care less whether we kill each other. They literally could care less. Which is what's gonna go next after the post-conflict reoccurrence, relapse. When the peace broker gets what he or she wants, they could care less what comes in next. Remember, the interest has already been attained, except for you and I as Africans. So who are we killing today? Are we really going to allow ourselves to be taken for fools, to be used and misused over and over and over at the expense of our own lives, at the expense of our families' lives, at the expense of our communities' lives? Literally getting killed publicly. Who's going to allow that? Who is going to be a part of that? And that's what I want to ask of you guys. Do we have no shames? Especially those of you who literally play higher politics or who have so much to say. What is your role in ensuring that another life of African doesn't perish overnight because of some bickering? Those of you who are fighting in the DRC, whether from Uganda, from Rwanda, from Burundi, or from Angola, from Central Africa, whichever country you're coming from, what impact are you having towards African lives today? I wish we had a way to literally record where the arms, where a lot of these arms are coming from, and just put it right there in front of a big screen. You guys will be shocked. It is systematically being used against us, guys. As long as I know who wants to fight who, and I'm an arm dealer, I'm gonna go and give you the guns as much as you need. Go to the next guy, give him the guns as much as they need. After that, go give another guy as much as they need and say, hey, show me the money, show me the party. I'll sit down with popcorn and watch you kill each other. That's what is happening today. Rwanda and the DRC are killing each other. And the unfortunate part, the masterminds are never going to be held responsible for the death of millions and millions of people perishing today and losing their lives. Look how many millions of people have already perished in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Not one single person right now is responsible for the death of millions. Not one single person is officially responsible. What's wrong with that picture, guys? And when I say that our value towards the life of Africa, an African person, it's zero. That's why I keep on saying that. Because we do not value our own lives enough to say, you know what? No, not today. I'm not going to allow my brother to come and shoot you. I'm not going to allow my sister to come and shoot you. I won't allow my father, my mother to come in and just shoot you guys. Because in the end, if we allow that to happen, we are going to be literally killing ourselves. Literally killing ourselves. Who's going to allow that to happen? So, and that's why I want to ask you guys that whatever we do today, we want to make sure that we literally form that unity. We form the unity. We literally open our eyes. We seek out every hidden stakeholders who's bringing the war on the table, who's arming every single armed groups in the DRC, in Rwanda, in Uganda, and put them in blast. Let the rest of the Africans know that, hey, these are the arm dealers. These are the peace breakers in the Greater Lakes region. These are the people who actually rather see a war continuing, rather see innocent lives perishing, because the interest is they're getting some sort of interest out of it. And if we can be that bold, if we can display it where everybody sees it, guys, things will turn around quick. Can you imagine you letting someone come and kill your whole entire family because of the interest in some country thousands and thousands of miles away? Can you see yourself actually doing that? And if you cannot see yourself doing that, why are you allowing that to happen today? Because it is literally happening to all of us. If it's not happening to your family directly, it's happening to your loved ones, friends, family, coworkers, or distant family members. Right now, with so many Congolese people who have passed on, who have died, I will bet that a whole lot of these families may have already lost at least one person. Between 7 to 10 to 13, 15 millions of people, you can tell me that all of these millions of innocent lives that have already perished, that they're not related to somebody within the whole entire country or in the region. It's almost impossible. So I will plead with you, brothers and sisters, we need to fight a good fight. Not only a good fight, but we also want to fight a fight that says enough with enough with killing ourselves. Enough with committing treason in the open. Enough with selling ourselves, selling our families, our family members, our community. People who are selling out our communities, our families, we need to hold them accountable, guys, today and not tomorrow. Because we are perishing as Africans. We are in the same pot being cooked. And when the pot is hot, all of us will perish, regardless whether you were sitting on Gucci, whether you were sitting on the most expensive bed, whether you had a beautiful looking room, that won't matter. Same pot, same fire, different rooms. Understand what I'm saying to you guys. So we need to be able to look after ourselves. We need to be able to seek after the interest of our brothers and sisters and do well for ourselves as well. Nothing wrong with doing well for ourselves. Why is it that the United States, for example, says, we want to make America great again? They didn't say we want to make African great again. They didn't say we want to make Asian great again. They did not say that they want to make Europe great again. They surely did not say they want to make Antarctica great again. We want to make American great again. What's wrong with you, African, seeking to make African families great again, collectively? What's wrong with that picture, guys? So I think I've said too much over this. Lastly, briefly, you have so many governments crying over the aid from the United States. The USAID, the US aid that has been sent to Africa has been stopped by the administration. And you have a lot of people crying over it that, hey, all of a sudden, this help was going towards HIV, it was going towards malaria. Now we are going to die. We are going to become this and that and that and that. Is it the responsibility of the United States to care for African people? Whose responsibility is it? If you have a home, you have children, do you go and tell your neighbor who have been helping you to care for yourself, like, hey, all of a sudden they're changing their mind, and you're like, oh my God, why are you stopping helping me? No, it is your responsibility as the father, the mother of the house to care for your own children, not your neighbors. Your neighbor is busy trying to care for his or her children. Why should they care by your own before they care for themselves? I know it's harsh, but it's the truth. So if we rely on the United States for HIV medicines, for our brothers and sisters in Africa, how the hell did we get to the point where we're relying on the United States for medicine, for HIV medicine? All the doctors that claim to have all these fancy degrees, neither one of these doctors can come up with an African-based vaccine or African-based medicine that they don't need no dollars to create it, to distribute it. And if the answer is no today, we are in trouble. But it also reaffirms what I'm saying to you guys, that we continuously experience modern slavery. Before the United States was a nation, Africa knew how to heal itself. We still can heal ourselves today without the help of the United States, the Chinese, the Russians, the French, the United Kingdoms. Every other power-hungry country doesn't have to be to Africa for Africans to heal themselves and to help themselves. But we have been preconditioned, and we have conditioned to constantly yell out, help, 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 because we got used to the milk from the United States. We have gotten used to the handout from the Chinese people. We have gotten used to the spoons of the Russians. And we've gotten used to the knives and the forks of the French and the Brits. We no longer know how to use our own hands to feed ourselves. Come on, guys. We got to get back to the basics. How were we healing ourselves before the United States came to do that for us? We've dealt with so many other diseases before. History will tell you. We can still do it today. If the US have the means, Africa has the means multiplied by 1,000. Guys, this is the truth and nothing but the truth. We have not only the ability, but we also have the capacity, but we lack the will to do it ourselves. Because if you're getting a degree in medicine, but you have never practiced medicine, you have never, brought a medicine for the African people, the families, without having to utilize the United States, the Chinese, the French, what kind of doctor are you? If you cannot heal, if you cannot explain why people are getting sick, why do you have a degree in medicine? And I know it may offend some of you guys, but can we keep it real, guys? If you cannot build a house, why would you call yourself a house builder? If you cannot fish, why would you want to call yourself a fishery or a fisher? Why would you want to parade you're licensed to fish, but you cannot catch a single fish. I have never seen people who are so proud in the degrees and the accolades like Africans. Africans, we love degrees. We love to literally show off our degrees. But how many of these degrees are feeding Africans? How many of these degrees do not cry for the US dollars, for the euros before you get paid? How many of you are literally generating work from your own hands, from your own degrees? It's almost none. And I think that's the mentality that we have to bring back. Don't give me the degrees that you have gotten from the United States. Give me the degree that's generating a solution to an African problem, regardless of where you got it from, including the degree you may have gotten from underneath of the tree. The other day, I was telling someone that I love mothers, our mothers. MIT, the most expensive institution or establishment in the first world countries. I'm not going to mention names for the publicity purposes, but they have ways right now. They can grab your sperm and the egg of a woman, and they take them in the laboratory and they bring a kid out. And they say, oh, we have a technology that does that. We're good. Do you know that our mothers, our African mothers, they already have a natural degree to literally mix that internally, flawlessly? How come we don't give them a degree to conceive children, make children, and bring them up as healthy as it can be? Guys, look backwards. Issues like autism, until they start messing with genetics, how many messed up kids did Africa have before? Meaning children who are born with all kinds of issues. A woman has the ability to manufacture a child in a God-given womb better than a machine can manufacture a child in a man-made womb. A man-made womb is literally full of faults. A woman's womb is flawless. It's naturally able to do that. How many degrees would you give a woman who is doing that for us? For generations and generations and generation, they have successfully brought us out to this world. Examples are many, guys. But today we want to trust Sophia. Today we want to have a computer taking the job of a woman. We want to have a computer doing all kinds of work on behalf of our own God-given gifts. The more we're turning off our gifts, the more we're relying on the machines. You basically say, you know what, I no longer need these gifts, so therefore what you don't use, you lose. If you don't need it, if you don't want to use it, it'll run away from you. So I want to encourage you guys that let us not forget that today we have the ability. We literally have the ability to heal one another. We have the ability to work together as brothers and sisters. But that ability cannot come to fruition if you do not believe in yourselves as Africans. We have to be able to believe ourselves, but we also have to be able to fight for ourselves, fight for our families, regardless of what country you're coming from. Guys, we literally are being killed, regardless of what nation you come from. We are in the same pot, getting cooked under the same fire. Regardless whether you're from east or west, we are all in the same pot. So what are we going to do with that, guys? That becomes my question. And that's what I want to discuss with you guys, because at the end of the day, guys, please be mindful. Be mindful of be mindful of all these things happening. If we don't do it ourselves, others won't be able to do it for you. you can be assured the people you believe that they are that they are going to be they are benevolent, they mean well for you, they mean well for themselves first. They are going to help you to the extent that they also get something out of it. If they don't get anything out of it, you can be assured they're not going to they're not just going to help you. It's literally impossible, guys. And that's unfortunately the truth and nothing but the truth. So everybody who's seeking for an interest in Africa, regardless of the country they're coming from, that's because they already know how much of interest they're getting out. If I may ask you, as an African, in whatever nation you're coming from, what type of interest are you seeking before you join forces with the master? What type of literally interest are we getting before we join forces? So for those of you guys, I want to bring it back. Those of you guys who were crying that the United States is stopping the aid, that the European Union is stopping the aid, there's so many other countries that are literally cutting back to the help that Africa was getting. Why are we getting help from the very beginning? Why are you begging your neighbor to come and take care of your own family when you have the responsibility and the ability and the means to take care of yourself? Africa has not only the means, but we also have the responsibility to take care of ourselves. Not the Europeans, not the Americans, not the Asians. We gotta take care of ourselves. We have the means, and we also have the material to help ourselves. What is wrong with us Africans? Anyway, that's where I want to end it, guys. I'm not gonna I know this is almost like like I'm preaching to the choir, but I want you guys to understand that it's not a responsibility of the United States to cure whatever diseases that we may have in Africa. It is African themselves' responsibility. You may have a nation with the goodwill to want to help, but if that goodwill isn't there, don't beg, don't cry that, hey, how come you're taking back what you have gotten me to, what you made me get used to? A slave will always beg the master to bring back the food, to clothe to clothe him back when he or she feels like, oh, the master is about to leave me. Because you've gotten used to be cared for. You have forgotten how to care for yourself. Africans, we have forgotten how to care for ourselves. So we have to literally roll the sleeves and learn how to get muddy. Get dirty right in the sun and do for selves what we need. Stop being accustomed to all these things that are making us lazy. It's like we constantly have to ask for food, ask for help, ask for that, ask for that. What about all the riches at our disposal? One of the other things that I want to say to you guys, it is my humble opinion that the entire Africa has to stop every agreement that it has signed. That's 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 years. Can you imagine someone signing a 100-year agreement with somebody whose interest is not you and you alone? Can you just imagine things happening like that? Africa, we have to reassess the agreements that we have with non-African nations. Are these agreements in the best interest of Africans, or are they only in the best interest of the fewer people out of Africans who have signed those agreements? Remember, slave master may speak to a slave, make him sign something on behalf of the rest of the slaves, and you think that the interest is coming, it's there for you, when the truth is not. Why is it that Africa, it still is the very poorest continent on planet Earth when it's the wealthiest continent on planet Earth? That's where I want to leave this conversation to you with, guys. Think about it. Everybody's in Africa looking for all the riches that Africa has to offer. Why is it that the same riches you don't want to use it for yourself first and foremost before you help somebody else? It makes no sense, guys. And because of that, we either got to wisen up or we might as well stay in that pot where we are being cooked all in one. And by the way, this is not hate. This is just talking real. We are being killed, literally. We are being killed, literally. And few of us, even though there are consequences of speaking up like this, but there will be a time where we have to stop these wars, because these wars are destroying us. If these wars are destroying us, why would you allow them to continue? That becomes the question. So, guys, let me end it here. I know that I have talked to you guys about all of this for such a long time. I mean, I am so very much in support of every single African and every single African descendant who's literally out here helping other brothers and sisters to do well for themselves, to basically become the solutions of the issues that we have today. Not looking for a handout, not asking, why me, why me, why me? Why did you take away that spoon? Why are you taking away that fork? Why are you taking away that knives? Don't be those people who continuously beg, guys, endlessly. Stop begging. Stop crying. It may be difficult at first, but I promise you guys, the more we get off these dependencies of non-African nations, the more we learn how to create for selves. Guys, I want to recommend that you take a look at Burkina Faso, take a look at Niger, take a look at Mali, and see what they're doing right now, guys. See what they are doing right now. Nations right now are big, non-African nations are begging them to come and work with them again. Why? They started showing Africans that, hey, guess what? You can do for self. Look at us, we're doing it for ourselves. We can work with the partners who respect us, who see us as not only as equal, but as collaborators. Anybody who sees us as slaves, we don't want nothing to do with you. I'm so excited to see what they are doing, because they are becoming inspiration to the rest of African people, which is why it is in the best interest of the master, of the headmaster, to literally ensure that the so-called these trio nations cease to exist, because they're inspiring Africans altogether to say, hell no, we no longer need you guys. We can do it for ourselves. What we thought we could never do unless you are there to do it with us. That is the biggest lie that's been told to the African family up to this very day. And unfortunately, us who were born yesterday, we were born with that same lie. We eat it, we lunch on it, we use it as a dessert, we wash with it. I mean, it's engraved in us. It'll take a whole lot for you to wash out that lie that you can actually do for self, that you can be self-sufficient. We can be self-sufficient today, guys. With what we already have, we do not need genetically modified help to take care of ourselves. And that's the truth. Anytime you're being told to destroy the natural means to take care of yourself at the expense of a genetically way to take care of yourself, whose interest is into those two prepositions? Someone is going to hold your stomach, and someone is going to cause you to go bend your knees in front of them when you receive those genetically modified means of taking care of yourself. But when you use the natural way, the inherited way of taking care of yourself, you are going to be free for anything that is genetically modified from a manufacturer. Guys, understand this. It's a no-brainer. But I realized what I thought, what I think it's a no-brainer, it is extremely complex to some of you. So that's it for me, guys. Let me go. Let me go. Let me go. It seems like I'm getting too excited, but I want to let you guys know that we are in times, the times that we are in, the season we are in. It is a time like we've never had before. Literally, what is happening to us as Africans collectively, it's one of the best things that could have happened, where we can actually um, change the directions of our lives collectively. Today we have the means, we have also the courage and the strength to change the directions of where we want to be tomorrow collectively. The question is, do we have the will to do that? So whether it's an issue related to health, whether it's an issue related to bickering with your neighboring countries, let's get rid of these boundaries, guys. I keep on saying that. Let's get rid of African boundaries altogether. They are no good to us. They are not going to help us to see a better tomorrow. So let's not have it as even a starting point. African boundaries, they are only there to keep us enslaved. They're not there to help us propel in tomorrow's technological advances. So let's get rid of these boundaries, guys. In other forms and other tools that keep other tools that keep us down. So that's it for me, guys. Thank you so much for those of you guys who have joined us today. We are so grateful, guys. We are so grateful for those of you working with us tirelessly. Thanks for those of you guys on the technical side. We know it is not easy, guys. It is not easy for this production. It is not easy to keep away from hackers. It is not easy for finding resources to broadcast these messages on so many on so many lines. Guys, this is an effort. This is a media war for us, brothers and sisters. I want you guys, I wish that you support these endeavors. These endeavors, support them, guys, because we're working for ourselves, for our own good for tomorrow. The same way there is a need of making an American great again, how about we also say, let's make African great again? After all, we are Africans, guys, no matter which country you are in right now. At the end of the day, if you are not wanted in any one of the countries that you are in, you will find yourself getting deported right back where you came from. So why not prepare your homeland so that at some point you don't even need to feel like you need to be deported? Just a thought, guys. All right. So, guys, thank you so very much. I'm Freeman Singirankabo here at AfriDominion Studio. I want to wish you guys a beautiful day. Those of you guys who are waking up, a beautiful evening if you are going to bed. And I want to acknowledge those of you who have really helped us tirelessly today. We have had so many productions today. Thank you kindly for our technical team on X, on YouTube, on Facebook, in the studio here. We have so many people helping us out to get this production to you guys. Until we see you guys again, have yourself a beautiful day. God be with you guys, and we will see you tomorrow. Goodbye for now.